GM is getting into the peer-to-peer car sharing business, and that's where if you own a car and you want to rent it out, you can rent it out. And General Motors is now launching peer-to-peer car sharing as part of its Maven program. This is open to GM owners, lessees, Maven members. There are about 150,000 of them. It's 2015 and newer models only. So if you got a really old Chevy Impala, too bad. It's not going to be on there. It's 2015 and newer. And the revenue split works like this. 60% of what's made when you rent it out goes to you, the vehicle owner. 40% goes to General Motors, and the head of GM's service in charge of Maven believes that this could prompt people to perhaps afford a more expensive vehicle that they'll eventually rent out.
What it allows you to do is truly afford maybe a more expensive vehicle, because again, this vehicle is going to make money for you.
And GM believes there's a lot of demand out there for people who do want to rent out their own vehicle. So when you look at the car sharing business, keep in mind that there are about 1.5 million users in the United States. That's the latest estimate. Some are very active. Some do it maybe once every couple of months. The rates vary depending on the service that's out there. And when it comes to peer-to-peer car sharing, not just car sharing that's run through a company like Zipcar, but peer-to-peer, you've got now GM along with Turo and Get Around, and then there are some smaller players, but that's going to be the three largest players out there. I mentioned Zipcar. Take a look at Avis, which is the company that owns Zipcar. They are one of the more established car sharing firms out there, but that's a case where they own the vehicle, so you are renting it on a daily or hourly basis from them. And General Motors, remember, it reports earnings tomorrow. It's a day, guys, when we get the big three all reporting their earnings on the same day. Lots of auto news will be coming at us tomorrow. Peer-to-peer car sharing, GM is getting into that business. Guys,
Jill,
back to you.
How much cheaper is peer-to-peer than renting from a Zipcar?
It depends on, well, first of all, you set the rate. So let's say you are the owner, Wilf, you could say, you know what, you want to take my Chevy Silverado for 3 hours, give me $15 an hour. Something like that. You know, I mean, no, you set the rate.
I want $375 an hour.
Right. Yeah, right. I mean, and we've done stories with Turo members who have, for example, bought Tesla Model S's, and they've paid off their Teslas by renting it out to people who want to drive a Tesla Model S for a weekend or for a week, and that's how many people do this.
Trying to get you to drive your Chevy. But Phil, I wasn't here yesterday. Let me ask you about Tesla. What's your take on all of this? What's been happening? What's the upside, downside on anybody who's watching Tesla shares?
You mean on the latest issue with their suppliers and the cashback memo? A poorly worded memo is what I generally am hearing from people. I have not seen the memo myself, but those who I have talked with who have seen the memo have said, wouldn't have worded it that way, but this is not uncommon when it comes to automakers and suppliers.
Is it uncommon if you're asking for future discounts versus what they were doing with at least one or two suppliers? It sounded like they even admitted that they were asking for rebates on what they'd already done in the last couple of years.
But Becky, you also get into issues such as productivity guarantees and whether or not a particular part or system that is being built for an automaker will live up to the guarantees that have been set in place. That is very common within the auto industry. Look, we usually don't hear about this, but there can be some really tough negotiations between established automakers and their suppliers. The problem here is not only the wording when you link it with profitability and the fact that one of the suppliers decided, you know what, I'm going public. You want to play rough with me, I'll play rough with you and I'll go public.
But you do believe that this is not uncommon? I mean, I think that's the question is you're hearing that, I imagine, or I know I've heard it from the Tesla side of the world, but do you hear it from other automakers who are saying, actually, don't worry about it?
I've heard it from, I talked with 3 people in the auto industry yesterday, Andrew, who said this is not uncommon. They did not look at this memo and say, oh my goodness, what is Tesla doing? I can't believe that they're doing this. They looked at this and they said, well, here's a supplier who wants to throw it back in the face of Tesla,
hey,
and
Phil,
they went public
since
with
we
it.
have you
and they also said the wording was terrible on the memo.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.